In Okahumpka, he was known as the boy on the bike. Most any afternoon, as soon as he heard the Atlantic Coastline train blow its whistle on its approach to the depot a few miles south of Leesburg, he would be pedaling his way to pick up the afternoon post. At Fate Merritt's grocery, Mayo Carlton might grab hold of the store fiddle and play Mary Had a Little Lamb for him, while Postmaster Sally Reeves sorted the mail in the next room. Buster Beach would be there, too, well before the West Coast champion arrived, to share the day's gossip or to tell the boy a corn-fed tale. The men of Okahumpka spoke kindly to him. They'd offer him a wedge of tangerine and tousle his uncombed hair with their meaty, sun-baked hands. They were sure to ask about his daddy. Some days the boy would linger at the grocery, a nickel in his palm, his eyes on the penny treats, until Mr. Merritt would hand him his favorite black cow candy and patiently narrate the financial transaction. The boy would smile and say thank you, but the arithmetic lesson would be lost on him by the time he reached the door. Other boys and girls his age had finished high school, but Jesse Delbert Daniels had fallen behind early. It had taken him 4 years to pass the 3rd grade, and by the age of 16 he had advanced only 2 more. He was not educable, the 5th grade teacher at Leesburg Elementary School told his mother, and although he'd been granted a social promotion, it came with the condolatory recommendation that he be withdrawn from further schooling. The mail pocketed in his baggy trousers, and the trousers tucked into his socks so they'd not catch in the bike's greasy chain, the boy would pedal back toward home. The way took him by the fishing hole, where he often passed his days. Often Jesse would dawdle, mail in pocket, with no notice of the hours passing, until he found himself caught in a summer downpour. The torrential afternoon rain soaking his hair and clothes, he would stand up on the pedals and lean into the blustery wind, while the clay kicking up from the tires spattered his pants and shirt. His mother, Pearl, would rush him inside their humble wooden house, take the wet mail, and dry him briskly with a towel. She'd remind him to pedal home fast when the sky over Sumterville began to darken, and Jesse would say, "Sorry, Mama." But he'd be no more mindful the next time he saw cascades of black and gray clouds billowing in the west, and he'd hear no alarm in the volleys of distant thunder. Jesse's rides almost always took him past the 54-acre Knowles estate off Bug Spring Road. The imposing 2-story Georgian frame house with 2 white columns on its front porch stood grandly among oaks and palm trees and a small grove of Florida pines that towered over the surrounding fields and scrub. Joe Knowles sometimes hired Jesse for seasonal work there. In summer, it was watermelons. The 50-pound Garrisons and Tom Watsons demanded more strength to pick, load, and pack without bruising than a scrawny boy could offer, however. While some Lake County farmers hired white football players from Leesburg High, who took the opportunity to bulk up their muscles pitching melons, Jesse usually worked with black laborers, trailing behind the cutters. Alongside pint-sized Negro boys, brush in one hand and in the other a jar of thick copper sulfate paste, he'd paint the freshly cut stems to reduce the threat of parasitic fungi. Or he'd glue labels on melons before they were stacked in the rail cars. When spring came around, Jesse got hired on to drop seeds for a new crop and to fertilize the young vines for 85 cents an hour.